So in this video, I'd like to give you a quick overview of the Learning Analytics interface. It can seem quite daunting and complicated, but it's really very simple. First of all, it's broken up into 6 distinct sections. So we have one section at the top, one section here, another one here, another one in the middle, and then 2 right here at the bottom. So let's have a look at these section by section. So the first section has 3 buttons, and this allows you to get data, which is basically the way that you load your log file that you got from KEATS inside the software. Another button which shows you the users that are mentioned inside the log file, and this is where you can select or deselect users to include in the analysis. So for example, perhaps you don't want the data from a tutor or an admin included in the analysis, and you just want students or just want a couple of specific students. This is where you do this. And the last button allows you to filter dates. So basically, if you don't want the whole of the date range that is covered by the log files, so we can see here that it covers from January up to July. Maybe you just want just February or just a specific week. So you can do this from here. What you would do is basically just change the dates over here. So for example, I'm just going to change it to March and click apply, and that analyzes my data again and makes the changes. Now on this side here, this is the summary section. This gives you a really quick overview of what's included in the file. As you can see, there are 2 different columns here, the shown data and the recorded data. Basically, the shown data is the filtered data. So if I make any changes, or if I filter the raw data in any way, the data that I got from KEATS, if I filter it in any way, either by selecting or removing users or by changing the dates that are viewed, this is the shown data. This is the recorded data. This is everything that is inside the file. So that's why we get these differences here, because I filtered the dates, and that's why I have different values here. So this shows me the total number of page views that my course got, the total number of unique users that accessed my space, the unique actions that I completed, and the unique pages that they accessed. And we'll talk about IP addresses in a bit. We get the average session length, so how long did those users spend inside my space, and these are the dates that are referred to each of these log files, so the filtered one and the complete one. Over on this side, I can see the activity over a specific date range, which is basically the date range that I have filtered since I filtered the dates. What I see are the total views, and I can see when I had the most activity inside my course space, on which dates. And obviously, within the context of teaching a module, this will make more sense to you. I can see the activity of unique users, so which dates had the most unique users access the space, and the same thing for actions and pages. I can see how the average session time fluctuates, and also I can see the bounce rate. So the bounce rate is basically when users access my KEATS space, they only complete one action and they leave. So they only do one thing and they leave. And we want to keep the bounce rate as low as possible to keep people engaged and inside the spaces. So going back to total views, what I can do is filter this view here, and right now I'm showing everything. But what I can do is focus on a specific user or on a specific page, action, IP address. So I can select user here, and then I can select from my list of users and filter. And this changes my graph here, and I'm seeing only the data from this user here. I can very easily go back to show all by clicking this button. Now in this middle window here, I can see the activity, the whole activity inside the course space over a day and time. So I can see over a 24-hour day, which hour inside the day is more popular with users. So from this graph, I can gather that Thursday is the most popular day for my users. In the morning, between 9 and 12, they obviously have lunch. And then we have between 2 and 5, that's when we have most activity. What you can do is you can click on these dates to filter them out. Or you can just click here to show all days only. So this is like the maximum or the average. I think it's the maximum. So if you add all these up, what you can do here is you can also filter. So again, like we did before, what I can do is select just a specific user and see their patterns of behavior inside the space. And what I can do as well is combine different elements here. So I want to see this user and his pattern of behavior with regards to this specific quiz, for example. So I can see that he accessed it between these hours on a Monday. So I can play around with these different settings to filter the data. And as always, I can go back to the original without any filters. Now at the bottom here we have the top figures table, and basically this shows me the engagement of the users. So I can see which users are most engaged in my KEATS space. Now this space doesn't have many users, but what I can do is instead of seeing the top 10, I can see the bottom 10 just by clicking on this arrow here, which reverses the order. I can also click here to show more results in the top list. So the same way that I can see the top or bottom users, let me just turn that to top again, I can see my top pages. So these are my resources inside my course space, and I can see which resources are more popular. Usually the top one is something which is called the course, which is basically just the main KEATS window, the main course page that everyone visits at least once. And the same thing for actions, to see what people are actually doing inside my course space. So we have my top users, my top resources and activities, and the top actions that people complete. Now over here, although I don't have much data, you might have when you analyze your own log files, this is where we'll get a list of IP addresses. Now an IP address is the address of a computer on the network, and an IP address will be mentioned here if more than 3 users have used it to access my KEATS space. And basically what that tells us is that this IP address is probably a public computer somewhere in a computer lab in a campus. And that information might be useful if you can actually get the exact physical location of the IP address, and perhaps you can use that information to organize activities in that physical location since students are already gathering there. But for this log file, we don't have enough data to have IP address data here. So that's a quick overview of the KEATS log file. Please get in contact with CTEL if you need any further information or assistance with using this system.